Well, kids across the province are settling into their classrooms for this first week of school, but as we've been hearing, a number of teachers are feeling increasingly burnt out. And a recent survey from the BC Teachers Federation found that 1 in 6 teachers is thinking of quitting. And so we're wondering, what can parents do or maybe stop doing to try to help teachers out? The answer to that question, or for the answer to that question, we're joined by 2 recently retired teachers. Pamela Rye taught for 27 years. She is based in Nanaimo. And Darcy King taught for 32 years in Surrey, and we're reaching him in Abbotsford. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
Thank you both for being with us. Before we get into it, either of you missing the classroom at this time of year, or are you happy that those days are behind you?
That's a double-edged sword there. So, sure, I miss the kids and that, but, I have to hand the baton off to younger teachers.
And what about you, Darcy?
I miss the interaction in the classroom, but I don't miss much else. In fact, yesterday I was out celebrating what I called Hell with the Bell Day and had some mimosas and wine tasting to celebrate the fact they're back and I'm not.
That's the Hell with the Bell Day. I love it. Now, Pamela, say compared to 15 or 20 years ago, how much more involved are you seeing parents in students' classroom life these days?
I don't think I saw them more involved. It's the nature of involvement. Of course, we want parents to be totally involved, and often we want parents that are not the parents we want to see sometimes are the ones that aren't involved, and we need to see those ones. But it's kind of the nature of the involvement, and that means, sometimes there's a bit of micromanaging with teachers. And I think what's happened is that teachers are no longer seen as mentors and guides, and it's kind of turned to a business model where teachers are seen as the servants of parents, and the parents and students are customers, and that's a little hard for an educator to operate when there is sort of that atmosphere.
When did you see that shift?
Oh, probably. That's hard because it goes fast.
Yeah.
Probably 2000, maybe about then. Yeah, 20 years ago, maybe 15.
Well,
yeah.
And what does that feel like? I mean, if you're a mentor, if you're a guide, that's a special thing to be. And now, as you say, it's like a business and you're serving customers.
Right. And the customers is always right, is a business model. So, it's hard because I just feel sometimes there's just a lack of respect for educators. And educators are professionals, just like a lawyer, just like a doctor. We don't have secretaries like lawyers and doctors. And just try to even get a doctor's appointment, and how long do you have to wait?
Right.
5 weeks and that kind of thing. And so parents who just expect us to get back to them immediately and that kind of thing is actually just an unreasonable expectation. And it just places a lot of pressure on us to, spend most of our waking hours doing our career. And we have families and we have a life. We are humans. And so just having that mutual respect for teachers.
And Darcy, what do you think?
I would agree with that completely. Like, that's a very good description of it.
And tell me how you've noticed the difference, or when you noticed it.
Probably, like she said, last 15, 20 years, it's sort of become more and more that we're answerable for everything, and we're no longer given any respect for our knowledge and our training and our experience. And that's very frustrating because, I went to school to be a teacher. I have 2 degrees, not just some flunky they brought in off the street to sit in a room full of kids. And yet you're treated that way, but not all parents, but enough to be annoying. And yeah, the immediate feedback's a big thing because you work in the classroom, you teach, then you've got to prep and mark and get things ready. And that all takes time. And then on top of that, outside of your school hours, when you're doing marking and prepping, you then have to communicate as well. And it takes a lot of time. And so teachers are putting in long hours. I saw a stat that said if you put a teacher's work hours over a 50-week year, instead of the shorter period we actually are in the classroom, over 50 weeks, so it compares to everybody, teachers still work about 45 hours a week on that schedule. So teachers are packing in a lot of time.
Wow. And Pamela, what kind of communication were you getting from parents just before you decided to hang it up?
Well, the smart thing is I never gave out my personal phone number, of course. And, although, parents do ask, there seems to be the notion that we are the surrogate parents for the time, that the child is in our care, and that we should have the same, concern. And yes, we are emotionally attached to our students, but, in a day as a high school teacher, I had 120 students a day. Every hour and a half, I had another 30 students. And so, there's no way that I could answer a call or that kind of thing. So, yeah, definitely a lot of emails on my professional email, never my
Right.
personal email. And then, of course, we have a marking system now, which is all digital. And there is a way through this marking system where parents can contact you. So that happened quite a bit also. So most of it is digital for sure. And as you know, I would rather spend my time with the child
Hmm.
and learning with the student in the classroom than dealing with the administrative work. And that's what has definitely increased over the years, is just the exorbitant amount of administrative work. And it takes away from
Right.
classroom.
And Darcy, do you think that most parents are coming from a good place? I mean, they're there. They want their child to have the best. They want to help, give teachers advice on maybe how to handle the child. Does it come from a good place?
Some of it does, and those are the parents you communicate with less. It turns out a lot of parents are in there advocating for the child. Remark this. Why did my child get this? And I say, well, that's how it works in the classroom. Stuff happens. And so a lot of it is, I had a parent one time arguing with me that their kid had not plagiarized an essay. And I tracked down, because I knew it wasn't their writing, I tracked down where they got it from. I could only get the first paragraph because it was a pay site, but the first paragraph was word for word, verbatim, the same essay. And they said they didn't that's not true. They didn't copy it. Well, what are the odds of that? And I was seeing an increase in that kind of support from parents for kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's detrimental to the whole system.
Final question to each of you. Pamela, to you first. One word of advice when parents are talking to teachers. What should parents keep in mind?
I think the main thing is respect
Mhm.
for us as professionals and trust. In Western education, there's been a lack of trust with educators. I understand there's a lack of trust with authority in general and government, and we are government agents. But, trust us. Teachers are good people, and we have, the best interests of students, and just to be patient with the learning process.
Right.
I don't have to call you every day and tell you your child has crossed their T on, or this kind of thing. Just be patient that the learning process is a long process,
Mm.
and that you will get your feedback on your child, which is government regulated. We are required to give a certain amount of report cards
Yeah.
and that kind of. And of course, we will meet you if you make an appointment.
And Darcy, for you?
Yeah, I'd agree. The biggest thing is the teacher's not out to get your kid. The teacher's there to help your kid and help them succeed. And we can work together towards that. And that's important. If you're not working together with the teacher, it's not as successful a system.
We're going to have to leave it there this morning. Thank you both. Really appreciate the time. Thank you, and best of luck to you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Take care. Pamela Rye, recently retired teacher in Nanaimo, also happens to be an Olympic medal winner in swimming. And Darcy King taught for 32 years in Surrey, and we reached him in Abbotsford.